The Paralympics are in full swing, and we're going to get the very latest on that from our James Vasina, who joins us now live from the Alexander III Bridge. James, there has just been another gold medal for France. Tell us.
Yes, and not just one. France has been doing extremely well in the para-triathlon, Jeannie, extremely well, especially from Alexis Auquin. He was widely expected to win gold. It's his second gold, and he's just managed to wrap that up on the triathlon course here in the centre of Paris. The flag bearer for the French delegation goes on to win on home soil. Doesn't get much better than that, winning in Paris 2024 for him. And just before that, it was Jules Ribstein who also made it onto the first step of the podium. Ribstein, 4 times world champion, but this time gets his first ever Olympic gold. Those two competing in the SL4 and TSL 4 and 2 categories here in the triathlon. 2 categories that divide the athletes depending on their mobility from beneath the heads, depending on their limbs on either side of their bodies. And France just doing extremely well, just generally in the triathlon. And that triathlon, just to give you an idea, was going through the same course that we saw the other athletes take during the Olympic Games just a couple of weeks ago. So that meant swimming in the River Seine. That River Seine swim that was supposed to take place 2 days ago was pushed back because of the bad weather. Then also cycling, going across the river on the bridge, the Alexander III Bridge behind us, and of course the running. Now, a few differences in the triathlon to adapt to the para-athletics, those being that the distances are halved, but then of course you'll also see some other differences come up along them. That includes guides for those who need it, visually impaired or do have difficulty seeing, have guides running along together with them. You'll also see hand bikes in them, and tandems also. And that's not, of course, the only adaptations that are made throughout the course. There's also, of course, the use of prosthetic limbs, and of course the athletes have to take the time just to change those from going from one event to another. They managed to do it extremely quickly, and all this in front of crowds who gathered today while it is the first day of schools for France back to school today. Well, crowds were here and are continuing to come to the events across Paris so far from what we've seen.
Well, James, what's the feeling been like, would you say, for the Paralympics? I mean, is it very different than the Olympics a few weeks ago?
Well, it is that if we could talk about this morning and just of how it's been, that feel compared to the triathlon that we saw during the Olympics or during the marathon, very similar feeling. I mean, this is of course a free event for people to come and see. You just have to walk up and come along and stand alongside the barriers to cheer everyone on. And if we think about the feeling for that, well, there were exactly the same chances we saw before the Allées Bleues, all for the French team, but also from everybody else in the world. And this is actually one of the points that's been, I think, quite interesting in comparison to the Olympics, is that we've seen, from my perspective anyway, I've seen it in a way more chanting even for the other teams, even for the other delegations. And this, whether it's in the swimming or from what we saw this morning, has been happening across the events. And I think this is due to several factors. Some of those factors being, of course, curiousness. It's all very new to everyone, and there's excitement around it, so just discovering something extremely new like that and being able to participate and take part in one of the first Paralympics for anybody watching here in Paris. So doing extremely well. We've still got, of course, quite a few days left. We're not halfway yet, but everything's supposed to be continuing in the same way throughout the second week of Paris 2024.
Fantastic, James. Thank you so much for that. That's our sports editor, James Vasina.